This is the how-to video for how to do powder coating and how to prepare for actual powder coating is the first step. So you're going to clean your sign. When it comes off of the CNC machine, it's going to have a bunch of just soot and everything else covering it. So we're going to bring it over here. We have a regular garden hose. It stays in this little attachment. There's a couple spots where there's magnets on the back wall here, and so your piece will just stick to the wall. You can look behind it to see where the magnets are. You need to spray it down with the hose. Then you're going to use the spray bottle, which they hang up underneath the little gutter. You spray it with the degreaser. You're going to scrub it really hard with the brush. You want to get as much dirt off as possible. Your paint's not going to stick if you have dirt on it, so you got to get the dirt off the front and the back. Then you're going to rinse it, flip it over, rinse it again. You're scrubbing and rinsing both sides. Then once you pull the sign off the wall, you need to make sure that you're not touching it anymore on the face or the surface of it, because your fingers have dirt, grease, and at the very least, you have oil from your skin getting onto it. So hold it by the edges. You can use the air hose to blow dry it, get the water off so that way it stops the rusting from happening. And we have two options at this point. We're either going to go and we're going to pre-bake it. If there's already stuff in the oven, don't pre-bake it because you're going to mess with their time for the curing of the powder coating process. If you can't pre-bake it, then it needs to hang up for a day so that way the water completely dissipates off of it. There are these spots on the back where the water is likely to stay. We can't do anything if there's water on this, anything successful if there's water on it. So either let it hang up in the spot I'm about to show you or pre-bake it for a good 10 minutes. That should bake out any remaining water from it. We're now over at the powder coating station. We have a hang-up station at the back here. It's just a wire mesh grid. You can hang stuff directly from it. Mine is now hanging up, so it'll stay there for a day. So I'll get it. I probably did if I was in at the beginning of the school day and then I wanted to work at the end of the school day. That would be enough time to work with it. Otherwise, just one class period to the next class period would be good. So let's say that it's already dry. I'm going to use Matthews, and again, I'm not touching it. I want to keep it clean. I'm going to bring it in here. I'm going to hang it up. I'm going to make sure that I use the hook that has my dog tag on it. As I'm choosing my paint, I have a couple of options, and they're all on the shelf that you guys can't see. It's right next to you, but they say different colors on it. So this one is textured silver, and we have all kinds of colors. This paper over here will tell you what colors we do have on the shelf and in the cans. If we're out, you need to let me know so I can refill it. Before we connect any of the canisters over here to the powder coating guns, we need to clean out the gun. So step one is put any powder back. The canisters have a lot of very expensive powder in them, so we have to do it with the paint over here. The paint stays completely separate. Okay, the paint has to stay at the paint shelf, and then we're going to be vacuuming with the paint at the paint shelf. No paint can be anywhere over here because we'll end up vacuuming it up, and it is powder, so it does vacuum very easily, but we can't do that. So with the vacuum attachment, which I forgot to put the piece back, we're going to clean the gun itself with it on. I'm not going to turn it on. You won't be able to hear me. We're going to clean the gun itself. We're going to take the hose that attaches to the top of the paint can, and we're going to put the vacuum up to it, try to suck out any paint that's still in the hose. We don't want any residual paint left in there. After we get that cleaned off, and it is not cleaned off right now, it's still covered. After we get it cleaned off, we can go ahead and turn it on. We're going to make sure that this is set to 3, the voltage, and we don't have to do anything to the gun pressure or the fluidizing pressure. Don't even touch that. We don't need it. We're going to get our canister, We're going to put the canister on top. This big hose, it makes sense. It goes right into there. There's no trick to that one. This other hose, which has the air pressure running through it, it's a little bit trickier. It shoves right in there just fine, but getting it out's a tricky situation. You need to press down on this little black ring. This is what messes people up. Press down on the black ring and then pull up on the black hose. So that allows you to disconnect and to connect it. I'm going to put this back and show you the process for powder coating. First step is turning on the exhaust. We cannot breathe this stuff in. This is very damaging to our bodies, to our lungs, and it will fill this entire room quickly. We have the green light here. Green means go. Not sure if you can see that from the video or not. Green means go. I'm going to turn it off so that way you guys can hear me. When we hang up our sign, I'm going to take the gun. We want it to come out as just a dusting. Like if you had a handful of dust that you just picked up off the dry ground, like dust, absolute dust, maybe dust out of a vacuum, and you just went, that's that dust flying into there. That's what we want this to look like. So we can turn the air down or we can increase the air. If you're not getting any powder coming out, you need to increase the air very, very slowly, okay? And if it's coming out too much, you need to turn it down more aggressively, okay? You're going to spray in a circular motion. I hope you can see that the gun's moving in a circular motion. And you're going to cover we will actually want to do the back first, and then we do the front. And you won't have to, the second side you do, which the front side you do, you won't have to do very much because most of it's going to be coated already. The gun has a positive charge on the end of it, and then we have a negative charge that's clamped to this whole cart assembly. So it's positively charging the particles, and then they're being attracted to the sign or the metal. And so that's how it's sticking. If we mess up, we can literally shake it off, blow it off, wipe it off, and it's done. After we get it to where we want it and it looks even and consistent, we're going to take our sign that has been painted without bumping it, because we're going to just wipe the paint right off. It's just a bunch of dust, powder that's on it. And we're going to bring it over to the oven. We're going to put it into the oven, and we're going to put it as far back in the oven as we can go without touching or bumping anybody else's. If the cart gets bumped, we don't want ours swinging and hitting somebody else's. We don't want theirs swinging and hitting ours. So you need to have a good amount of space in between them, but you do need to put them in at the back, and then we'll fill it towards the front. I'll probably run the oven the entire day and just pull things out at the end of the day, and I'll just hang them back up on the rack or on the front of the door. There's hooks on the front of the door. We need to bake things for specific set amount of time. Each paint's a little different. If we overbake it, it's not going to be as shiny, but we don't have a whole lot of specialty jobs where we have to make sure that they are shiny. If you're doing a job for somebody else, you need to keep track of how long it's in there. We're usually shooting for 30 minutes, but really it has to be in there for so long at a certain temperature for it to make it gel and make it adhere to the metal. But that's we're not going to get into too much detail there. We'll probably just end up overbaking a lot of things. It might not be as shiny, but we know that it's on there good enough, and it's not going to be a bad paint job as far as the quality of paint. And when we do turn the oven on, it's all 4 switches. And there's a timer that's on the side of it. It's just a little magnetic kitchen timer. You can set the timer for 30 minutes, and that way anybody else who walks up to it, if the timer's already done, we know that it's been in at least 30 minutes.